Welcome to the JP8Report. This is James Pierce with the JP8Report with the 2026 election interview with Killeen City Council at-large candidate Christy Wilbanks. Thank you all very much for tuning in this afternoon. And as we get started, please click the follow button to follow the podcast in the future, and click the like button. And please, since we are live with Christy here, you can chat with us and ask us questions, and we'll stop the interview while we're talking and answer your question if you ask us one. So feel free to do it. It's free of charge, and we're gonna get started here. I'm sure everybody has a busy day planned after this. So Christy, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
All right, appreciate it. So before we get started, tell us about yourself.
Well, I'm a Christian. I'm a mom. I'm married to a retired military husband. And between us, we have 5 children, 1 grandchild, and 1 on the way any day now. And we got here about 8 years ago. My husband retired out here, and whenever he retired out here, we both decided to retire. And I've been working with county elections for over 5 years now, and I love working as a judge. Been involved in a lot of organizations in the county and in the city, and I love Killeen. I really do, and the people of Killeen.
So, are you involved in any organizations inside of Killeen?
One is the LULAC organization. I am involved with them. I've helped out with the homeless whenever during, the cold temperatures or hot temperatures and where they're going and stuff like that. I've helped out with that. And so I'm wanting to get more involved with the homeless to where we could find solutions for them.
Have you ever held elected office?
I'm a precinct chair.
Okay. That's a tough job.
Yes. So I am a precinct chair of the Republican County Republican Party. Okay. So, but that is the only elected office so far.
All right. Now, sometimes people just jump right into running into politics without doing anything else.
Right.
Well, you got some experience, about Robert's Rules of Order and stuff like that.
Yes.
Precinct chair is the basic building block of either political party.
Correct.
Yeah. All right. So, what specific professional or community service experience qualifies you to oversee a $339 million budget?
Yes. My work history involves I have worked in the medical field in the very beginning of my work history. I did move over to the credit card and banking industry. I'm from Columbus, Georgia, and there is a business called Total System Services. I believe they've been sold out though. And Synovus Banking. And I was there during the time of running the Citibank finance ordeal through them, and also did a lot of training for the banking part of getting everybody situated and up and running with new, technological things that had happened. So I've been around that a whole lot with balances and budgets and spreadsheets. So, wow. And now I'm a retired holistic practitioner. And of course, whenever COVID hit, that hit hard on a lot of businesses. So at that point, I just decided to retire completely and get into the political aspects.
Columbus, Georgia is pretty famous for it. So for the people who don't know, that's a home of the airborne infantry. Okay, so
yes.
Now you know. All right. So as an at-large candidate, how will you balance the competing needs of different neighborhoods to ensure smart growth for Killeen as a whole?
We're going to have to do a lot of work on figuring out what's what. I mean, that's the first thing. People have to come together and figure out what is the problem, what is the solution, and it's not one of those, I'm going to do it in a day. We can't, it's not possible. But we need to get people more active in the community, in their neighborhoods. Come to us with, what's going to happen with our neighborhood, what problems we've got, and how that's going to come all about.
What precinct do you live in right now?
414.
You're in precinct 4? Okay.
No, District 4, Precinct 414.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when they do regular city council elections, who is the city councilman there now?
Kendrick.
Okay.
Yes.
So instead of concentrating in that area is
Mhm.
where you would have been if you were on in city council, but now you're at large.
It's going to be the whole city. Yes.
And then there are different elements throughout all of Killeen.
Yes. We're going to have to, each councilman has to work together.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't matter what aisle you're on. When you're sitting at that dais, you're all for Killeen.
That is good for people to hear.
Yeah.
Because people
Killeen.
think, well, my little fiefdom is precinct 1. Well, no, you represent the city. You're
That's right.
a city councilman for the city of Killeen, not precinct 1 only. When you're in the
Right.
dais, you represent the whole city.
That's
You
right.
speak for the whole city council. When you're there, you don't speak for your own little precinct.
Right.
Okay, cool. So we're moving on to collaboration. If you want to expand more on it, no
Okay.
problem. Okay, this is your interview, not mine. All right. I've been through mine. So Killeen has recently faced leadership changes, to say the least, and recall efforts, and that was in the news last week about the charter committee. How do you plan to restore trust and work with fellow council members who may have different political, philosophical?
Philosophical.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
Well, I could work with anybody, and it is tough whenever you know everybody has their side of what they believe in and everything. But the one thing, like I said, we've got to be here for Killeen and what's best for Killeen and the residents of Killeen. I believe that trust starts with having the people come to us, telling us what's wrong, and everybody listening. It can't be just me listening and the district not listening or the other council member not listening. We're all going to have to be in this together. We all got to hear what the people are saying is wrong. We've got to build that trust. I understand, like Kendrick is District 4. I did run against him a year ago.
But you'll be working with each other.
Yeah, I would have no problems. I don't have a problem. He's a council member, and
that would be a bonus for y'all's district.
That
Two
would.
people said, yeah, man.
2 for 1. No. The thing is I have no problems with that. He won. He is my council member, and we go in together of talking about what's good for Killeen. That's one thing everybody's got to keep focus on. What's better for the residents.
Yeah. So, like they were talking about with the charter review, about strengthening the recall efforts.
Right.
To be able to do a recall inside the city of Killeen is gut wrenching, and it's like it's made not to work.
Yeah.
And if you have a councilman that's not up to par, you should be able to excuse them from the council. It's not that hard here in Copper's Cove. That's where, if you didn't know, that's where I live, in Copper's Cove. And the only stipulation is here is like it can't be in the first 6 months or the back 6 months of someone's. And our council members serve 3 years. Okay, so not the first or last 6 months, and I forgot what the number it is. But would you be in favor of strengthening the make it more stringent in Killeen or relaxed standards for the recall efforts in Killeen?
Well, the one thing that I would say I'm worried about is whenever the Charter Review Committee is sitting there discussing this, and you have one member saying, I've never seen the recall form. And I'm sitting here thinking, well, you're talking about this and trying to make it into the charter, but you've never seen a form. Do you not know the process? They need to be up to date on what they're going to be making
That's
decisions
not
on.
being prepared for the meeting
Yeah,
itself. If you know you're going to be talking about recall procedures, you should have that
no. You
with
should
you
research it
and
have
study
it
at least the night prior before you coming in. But at least talk to residents. What is your feeling about if we were to change this part of the city charter? Would you be and talk to more than just a couple? Talk to about 10, 15, 20 people. Have a small town hall or whatever. But some people just don't do that no more. They just show up for a meeting and sit down and think they know it all and try to reinvent the rules. Do you have any other ideas you'd like to bring to the council if you were elected?
Well, one of my main things is a lot of Killeen residents feel they don't have a voice. I want to bring that to the council because, for one, you've got people going to the meetings, not really, because they're at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and you could only talk about what's on the agenda. That's not fair to everybody that's having issues that need some type of resolution. I want to be no agenda citizen comments. You can talk about whatever. Have your 3 minutes, get up there and speak.
Okay.
Because for one thing, you've got council members, from what we've heard, council members are not returning emails, phone calls. Well, this will hold our elected officials accountable.
Yeah.
You'd be able to go up there and speak your piece. Our meetings need to go to a different time. They start at 3, and that would be the workshop. Then we have the 5 o'clock, which is the regular meeting. I believe that those two need to be separated. One needs to be in one week, the other one needs to be the other week. And start at a better time, because residents who work cannot go.
Right.
And then, I've had somebody come up to me about ADA issues. Do Zoom calls for the people who cannot come in. And also, the visually, people not being able to see the interpreter on the screen. That's another thing that nobody's really thought of. We have live council streaming without an interpreter to where somebody that needs that to work on. But yeah, you cannot talk about it at 3 and then at 5 make a vote on something after, the citizen comments. I mean, I just don't understand how they could do that. What about the research of what the citizens come up and say on a particular item? You're not doing any research. You're just going ahead and voting. So given a week apart, it'll make sense to where, okay, I got the information from the city worker. I got information from engineer. I got information from the citizens. Now it's my time to go out and find out and research myself. I could go to that neighborhood, talk to the residents there, and then come back and discuss it at the city council the next week.
Okay. So residents continuously cite road maintenance.
Yes.
As a top priority. What is your plan to address the backlog of repairs given the current budget constraints?
That's going to be...
I can give you 2 examples.
What is
Bunny
it?
Trail and Watercress.
Watercress, yes. Those are 2 are the big issues. But Bunny Trail is, going almost to the point of, completion, but Watercress is getting to be hard right now. Right now, you got the loading closure, and you're trying to do all that traffic right there. It is bothersome.
Did I hear that Watercrest you can only go toward the college?
Yeah, they're redoing it right now, so it's going towards this away to where this whole thing is blocked.
Oh,
They
goodness.
are redoing that whole thing, so it's
Do you
it's
know? Do you
rough.
happen? I know you're not in the city council, but you know how much longer that's supposed to last?
That's gonna last for another. It's supposed to, from what I read, end by the fall, but I don't think. Look at our past history. Are we hitting our deadlines? Is it going to come to the end by fall? I don't know. It don't look like it. It looks like there's still a lot of work to be done. So we've got to come together of figuring out having the city manager hold all the companies responsible of, hey, you're accountable for this. You told me you're going to start here. You're going to give us an update on, within a couple of weeks, find out did anything from the completion date change? Because once you start working on stuff, you're going to come up with issues. So, how are we going to figure out, are you for sure on our deadline?
Okay.
We've got to keep up with the accountability of what the engineers and everybody are saying.
And it seems to me that you understand the role of a city council person.
Mm-hmm.
That the city manager manages the city and makes all decisions in the city.
Correct.
But he works for you.
Exactly.
And the mayor supervises just as an advisor, as a tiebreaker,
right,
and directs the council. But y'all make the decisions that the city manager has to execute on.
Right.
Okay.
And it's up to us to make sure the city manager is doing his job and doing it correctly.
Right. For the amount of money he makes?
Yes.
Yes. So do you support the continued funding of major projects like the Rancier Avenue improvements or the Southwest Branch Library, even if they require significant debt or budget trade-offs?
I really don't. I don't. Because of the fact I'm the kind of person that with what was going on in our city now and the budget that we have going into a deficit, and I think putting beautiful trees and curbs and all this and bushes in the middle, that's not what we need to be doing. We just need to be able to do safe roads and get them done. Um, the library, we do have libraries and we do have options in every the cities around us, and I mean we are a county, so I'm right now that is not a number one project for me. I just believe that we need to be smart with our money, because I mean it is my money, your money, everybody's money. Well, you live in Copper's Cove, but
I spend plenty of money.
yeah. So I mean, we gotta be respectful of
Do you
people's
go
money.
to many of the city council meetings?
Yes, I go to the city council meetings.
Has in regards to the Southwest Branch Library, uh, does the library superintendent ever bring the council members logs on how many people actually visit the library
Well, the thing is with that, they only come in ever so often.
for the budget?
Yeah, I mean that could be quarterly or annually. So really, I mean, we need more updates on every department, because that's one thing a lot of people don't understand. Well, I may miss that meeting that just talked about that. So we need continuous updates and like online where we could find the information. That should be updated weekly. I mean, we need to know what's going on.
Okay. So what is your stance on extending the city limits? And how will you ensure new developments that have necessary infrastructure, i.e., water, sewer, and roads, before they're approved?
Well, we need the infrastructure before building out. I mean, for one, if you start building out, we're not going to have the services and everything that we need. Whenever you're It's like right now, we don't have enough police and fire. But you start building now and we're already behind, that's not going to help the city at all. So I believe that we need the infrastructure and stuff before we start building out.
Yeah. So developers historically, and you can't blame them, they want to spend the least amount of money on their development so they
Right.
maximize the profit.
Mm-hmm.
But if the city accepts that and says, "Oh, we're going to do a voluntary annexation. We're going to bring them into the city. Development's done. They've sold all their houses, and oh, by the way, Miss City Councilwoman, we have this plan that needs to be done. It has to be done
Mm-hmm.
for Joe Schmo subdivision." And you're like, why didn't the developer do it in the first place?
Right. Mm-hmm.
And those are some of the standards that need to be made sure that they abide by.
Yep.
Um, so, and I don't know what kind of uh, checks and balances they have in Killeen that ensure stuff like that happens when they bring it to you. Because like out here, we have CCNs and stuff like for water,
Right.
and but when it comes to when you got to put those PVC pipes in and run the wastewater management system through for sewer and stuff, that soaks up some money really fast.
It does.
And people don't realize that, and we have to buy CCNs from Kempner and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and they get rich off of us. But someone has to install all that before those houses up and before the houses go up, because once the houses go up and you start selling it, you can't annex the land in because you have to have 50% of the residents say
right.
aye, right? But before a single house is built, that developer says, I would like to annex this to the city, and it all becomes part of Killeen.
Yeah.
So if you look on a map of Killeen in the southeast part of the city, you see little dots all over the place. Yeah, that's why.
Yeah.
So you're good about doing it for the annexation and zoning and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So first responder support. You were just alluding on police and fire and EMT. How would you address the need for competitive pay and increased staffing, as you were just talking about, for Killeen police and fire departments while managing the projected decrease in sales tax revenue?
Mm-hmm. We need to really look at the budget and each department of that budget, each department of the city. There's a lot, I believe, that we can bring down in the budget, whether it's, positions that really aren't needed. That kind of money could add up. But we have a city manager, then we have an assistant city manager, and then we have another assistant manager. So, really, 3 right there, that's a lot of money. We need to really look into each department and figure out what can we do. I know that a lot of things are being handled outside of Killeen, like the credit card processing, the services and stuff where you pay and it goes to a different area. We need to look at every single thing and make a decision. It's going to be a hard decision, but I think we need to get in there, check it out for each department, find out where money is being wasted, where money is being done correctly, and see if we could get some of that together to help the police and fire and EMS. It is important that we have the amount of bodies to work.
How many do you know how big the Killeen Police Department is?
I am not 100% sure on that.
Okay.
I will tell you that straight up. I do know that I met with some, and they were talking about for the size of Killeen. We got about 165,000 people of Killeen. We're still needing stations. We're still needing fire stations. We're just behind the limit of we're good. We need more. We need to keep our city safe because if I have an issue, if I have a fire, who am I going to call? I got to make sure that they're there in a good amount of time and have the people to work that fire.
And response times are always really important.
The response time is important. And that's where we got to make sure in the districts, we have enough fire, EMS, police doing the whole, go by district. And then the whole city of Killeen figure out.
So you know what community policing is?
Yes.
Okay. So do you support the implementation of police substations in neighborhoods as a method of crime prevention?
I do. I don't know if we're there yet because, we are behind on the ranking there of how many we're supposed to have. Could we get to where we get to parks in the areas of that for our businesses, look at where we have the most crime issues. Can we put a substation there? But have police present in the areas that they know that that's where they are. I want them to be able to know the area.
Right.
Because if they don't know the area, that affects the response time too.
So you want the same group of police officers where you live at, that you would know, that they would know, hey, you're Christy, your husband's name is Mike, know a couple kids, but not just you and your husband, but your neighbors there, across the street, and be familiar with the people that live around there.
And even the schools, because
that's how you build trust with the police department, and how they can trust you and you can trust them.
Right.
It makes for a better neighborhood. That's why we have National Night Out too.
Yes, we did have a National Night Out last year at our house.
Sweet.
And it was great. We had a lot of people come. I got to meet a lot of neighbors that I didn't even know.
That's what it's for, yeah.
That we are bringing people together and talking about what's going on.
And as part of being a councilwoman, that's good too, because that encourages you to have town halls.
Yes.
And to meet with the people. Well, at large, you have to meet probably around the city. But people know who you are, and you can ask questions about the people that you represent.
Right.
And have a two-way dialogue or a three-way dialogue.
Well, that you brought up something important. I want to be able to be available. I want to be able to go like to a weekly coffee to where citizens could come up and we have conversations. I don't want to be the person that I just sit on the dais and that's the only time you see me. I want to be out there because that's what I'd be elected to do. I want to hold weekly coffees or lunch and come talk to me.
That would work. Coffee with Christy.
Yeah.
That would be good. All right. At Whataburger.
Oh, Whataburger.
They were in the paper, and they were on Fox News. They were even talking about it on TV and stuff. How Whataburger is the number one cheeseburger by ounce, cost wise, in the entire country.
Yeah.
Man, we made the big time.
That's my husband's favorite.
Well, qualities right there. Homelessness.
Yes.
So a homeless shelter project was previously delayed due to funding.
Right.
Where does this rank in your list of priorities for the 2027 fiscal year?
It is important. I have to say it is important. We do need to look into this. We need to come together about seeing what is being offered, like our churches, any type of place that can offer help. I don't know if we need to build a brand new building for the homeless, and I believe that we need to come together and find a building that's already built, go in there and maybe make some changes just to be a temporary housing for like somebody with the cold or the heat or need just a little bit of a help. If you build a building and house them for a long period of time, I don't know if that is actually helping the situation, we don't have the money right now to build a brand new building and everything. I do believe we need to come together with our friends and friends of crisis, our churches, other volunteer organizations, to where we make a solid plan on what could happen and what could be done. I don't know if we got a little committee for it to say, hey, we need to look into this and we need to bring all these people together and say, let's make a plan and let's figure it out.
Does the Killeen Housing Authority have anything to do with that, or is that just a separate
The
organization?
separate organization. I mean, of course, everybody's going to work on the homeless ordeal, but it's mainly for the other.
Okay. All right. So revenue shortfalls. This is everybody's favorite subject. Killeen has a reduced sales reimbursement for the disabled veterans property tax exemption.
Yes.
Okay. And how do you propose the city bridge this revenue gap without overburdening other taxpayers?
Mm-hmm. For one, we need to get in there to the legislators. We need to go to our representatives and have a conversation with them. And I'm not talking about when they're in session, of when they're making decisions. I'm talking about we need to talk with them now. We need to get them involved and say, this is what we're looking at. And of course, Killeen is the largest city in Bell County, and we are a military community. Yes, we have a lot of retirees. I do not believe that we need to take the 100% disability away from our veterans. They fought in a war. My husband fought in the war, and I tell you this, I believe there's things that we could go to, grants, funding, but we need to have that talk with our representatives and hold our representatives of us accountable, saying, you represent us. What can you do for us?
Does Brad Buckley and Hillary Hicklin have portions of Killeen?
Brad Buckley. Hillary is more into the
Harker
Temple
Heights.
Harker Heights area.
And then right now, August Pfluger and John Carter have portions of Killeen.
Mm-hmm.
That's until January.
Right. But yeah, we've got to go and have those conversations. And like I said, we need to do it now than later.
Right.
Because that's going to help us a lot.
Right. Yeah. And, when money disappears, it's gone.
It's gone.
And you can wish all you want. It ain't going to fall into your hand.
Right.
Because I don't think people around here would tolerate a tax increase.
No. Not after the last one.
No. So are you familiar with the financial governance policies?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you are. And what improvements would you suggest for that transparency?
We do need to be more open to our residents, either online or when we go to our council meetings. It's just like the budget, the report for the budget yesterday. They had where they go over the entire budget, see if, hey, y'all passed, everything's good.
Did they provide copies for them?
For the council members only. Everybody sitting in the gallery, we got to see a couple of slides that said, hey, we didn't find anything notorious wrong. You're good. We gave you this recommendation. But the residents didn't know anything. We haven't seen anything to where we could go up there and say, hey, I saw that this was on here. Can you explain?
Because they could put a link for that on the city website.
Right. And they were talking about doing that later that night. But I don't know if they did it or not. I hadn't checked yet today. But that's one thing. Why don't they have copies that you could download to where you could read it off their website?
It should be available to everyone because, with the Texas Open Meetings and Open Records, unless it's an executive session, it should be made available to everyone. I do know that you can do I call it a FOIA, for Freedom of Information request for records.
Right.
You can do that kind of request, and they'll have to give it to you.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a person to person to person.
Oh, yes.
Why not just post a link on the city website under the city secretary with minutes and agendas? And, reference link. Here's
Right.
the budget document for the audit and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And people can actually see what's in it and see what's happening in their city.
That's
and that
right.
would eliminate a lot of the arguing you see at city council meetings.
It would.
Because people are like, I don't trust what that city council person is saying. I mean, they're lying to me. They don't show me nothing. They just
Right.
talk and leave. And I don't see them until next week when they come back here. How much does the city council person make per meeting?
Per meeting?
Yeah, $50 or something like that.
Yeah, it's up to $250 a month,
Okay.
and the mayor's $350.
Okay, that's
Which
not a lot.
No, it's not. And I call this as
They get 25 here
25
per meeting.
Okay, yeah, they're talking about that now with the charter review of if it's going to go by meeting or by certain amount. So that's in discussion. But to me, I think this job is more of I have a heart to serve.
To serve. Yeah.
And that's the way it is. I mean, I want things to be better for our city and the residents. I mean, because I'm part of that. I'm doing this for my family and I'm doing this for yours. You know, I see issues and I see that things are not getting done. So I want to step up and say, hey, I could do that. I want to be the voice of Killeen.
So my one of my last questions, unless we have an alibi question in here somewhere. So with the city council, when you go to meet at the city council meetings, so once a week, right?
Council meetings is on the first and third Tuesdays of the month.
Okay. So when you show up, usually you have citizens forum. What do they call it? Public comment or
citizens comment?
Citizen comment.
You have a form,
and that is dictated to the letter in Killeen.
Yes.
In some other cities like ours, you get to go up there uninterrupted for 3 minutes. You get to speak your mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you can't be interrupted by a city council member.
Right.
I've seen different aspects of that in Killeen. I've seen people pretty much skull drug out, and that's an army term. But with transparency and freedom of speech, there's a lot of people. If you took people to the side in Killeen and explained to them what's going on in the city council meeting, because like you said, they work. They don't get to see what's on that city council unless someone from the KDH takes a picture and puts it on there and manipulates what's going on and not tell the full story and stuff. But you have people that are actually hold on just a second. One of my trying to hang up the phone, man, because it's next to the mic. Everyone's going to hear that thing buzz. What was it going at? Oh yeah, you have a couple people running for city council right now. 3. I won't mention their names, but they actually got in trouble during citizens' comment for trying to speak their mind to the city council, who represents them. Mm-hmm. And when you look at what's going on in there with the charter review talking about the recall procedures, and you got the freedom of you got the Texas Open Meetings Act, a lot of stuff pertains that a lot of people out there. You could actually, when we see your husband, he probably tells a whole different story and stuff. But what people have with their First Amendment rights to approach their city council candidates and tell them how they feel without repercussions.
Right.
And what is your view on that?
Well, I believe whenever you go to the city council is there, the people of Killeen elected these officials to be there. And I believe the citizens could be able to come up to that mic. Okay, right now it's 3 minutes. It was 4 minutes to be able to speak. It's 3 minutes. You could only speak on agenda items. To me, I believe you could go up there, speak 3 minutes. I don't care what it is. You should be able to do that. you should not be limited only to agenda items, because if your council member is not returning phone calls or emails, how does the other council members know what's going on? Um, I use an example of what happened last night. James Seals had an issue.
He's running for city council. I wasn't going to mention it.
No,
I thought he was
James
running.
Seals. No.
Oh, okay.
He had an issue with the Featherline Road and everything, and he was talking to the engineer, and back and forth. Then there was no talk back and forth. So the issue was they were not listening. They were not giving suggestions and stuff. And he was able to go and talk about it because it was related to the agenda item. But the issue started about a year ago. So that whole time, if there was nothing on that agenda regarding that issue, he couldn't come and say, hey, I've talked to so-and-so. I haven't heard anything back. You know, that would have solved a lot of issues. And maybe the rest of the council would see, oh, the city manager is not taking care of this problem that's going on in this department at this roadside. You know, that's what freedom of speech is. You go up there and you are able to say, I have an issue. I have a problem. Or what if somebody comes up there and says, thank you for doing this.
Right.
I appreciate it. But freedom of speech, they should.
We hear that all the time. They go up and say thank you, and it's like, wow, that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, it
good
doesn't
news
matter.
is always good to hear.
Yeah, I mean, it would be great to know we did something right, you know. But freedom of speech, you should not take away.
Well, in the Bill of Rights, the First Amendment, the Bill of Rights is there to protect us from the government, not protect the government from us.
Right.
That's the whole part of it.
And whenever you got a council limiting you, that's not right. That is not fair.
Yeah. That's right. That's right. I'm glad you think like that too. That's good. Why does Christy Wilbanks want to be on the city council?
Like I said, I'm running for my family and everybody else's family. I believe that I have the knowledge, the experience. I have, based off of my values, principles, I'm ready. And I'm the kind of person that whenever I see a problem, I'm going to start working on that problem until it's done. I jump in. I'm ready to go now. And I can't wait to be able to be elected to the council. But I do have experience. I've seen what has been going on. I know that to change, you have to go to the lower level of the government, which is our city council. We need to get our people involved. We need to get them more in tune with the council. I want to be available, like I said, weekly coffees or something, to be able to be open and transparent to the citizens.
Okay. Do you have any meet and greets over the next few weeks before election?
Not scheduled yet. They're in the process of getting confirmed and everything. I do have a website. It's christyforkilleen.org. I have a page on there. It says meet and greet, and that'll be updated with any updates coming up.
Okay. And you can put that on the Rumble under the comments so people would have a copy of that.
All right, that'd be great.
And then election day is May 2nd?
May 2nd, and early vote starts April 20th.
April 20th.
May 2nd starts April 20th through the 28th.
Okay, 20th to the 28th.
Correct.
And then May 2nd is actual. That's a Saturday, too.
Yes, it is a Saturday. And I want to say this.
And this is the last one before it moves to November.
Right. The council did make a vote on moving the May elections to a November. So the next one would be, I believe, November 2027. And I have to say this, on the early vote, there's 3 locations. And you could go to any of those locations. But on election day is precinct voting. So you have to make sure what precinct and what area you could go and vote at.
Okay, Cool. Anything else you want to say?
I'm Christy Wilbanks. I'm running for the Killeen City Council at large, and I would love your support and your vote.
All right. Well, thank you all very much for listening to us for the last 45 minutes. Man, that's a good interview. That's good. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. If you are listening and you like what we do here, wait a minute, we have a question. No pet projects in the city. Do what needs to be done.
That's right.
Okay.
I 100% agree.
Okay. I don't know who Cav Sergeant Mike is. Okay. That's a cool name too. Oh yeah. So please click the follow button to follow the podcast and click that like button. It's that thumbs up button. And thank y'all very much for tuning in. And Christy, thank you very, very much.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So this is James Pierce with the JP8 Report. I will catch you on the flip side. I'm out.